Hi, so welcome again to another session of our online training for DSAS Package 1 DSAS Aggregator. And for this session, we'll be showing you an example of an output of the tree construction program and the data has errors. We simulated the data, test data 2, and I edited some of the entries there to produce some errors. So here we can see that there are 2 trees found in this data. So we can see that there's an error on this data in terms of its connections. On the facing check errors, there are 3 errors on the data. We also have 1 branch type check error. And again, we still have the same number of warnings. We don't have legality check 1 errors. We also don't have legality check 2 errors. So we can see here there are 2 entries now for the 2 trees formed. So we need to correct this data and make sure that there is only 1 tree formed for this network. So compared to the other data we simulated before, we still have the same result, all trees formed. There are already 2 entries for each tree formed for this simulation. So we'll be going through the results again, and then we'll see the possible cause of the error. So let's go first to the all trees results. So again, let's look at the different results of the program. As going back to the summary, we have 2 trees formed, we have facing check errors, and we have branch type check errors. So let's look at the different fields for those errors. So first, let's look at the 2 trees formed. So in column G, again, our goal here is to make sure that the entries are only 1 for all fields. So if you scroll down, you will see that there is another tree formed, another network got separated from the main network. Also on the facing check, we can see that there is now an entry for error. So what we can do is select only that field and press OK. So here we can see the cause of the error. The facing of the from bus is BCN, and then the facing of the to bus is ABN. So we cannot have that kind of facing connection. So the program flags it as an error. Now on the other tree, I think there's no error for the facing. So we'll go through that later on and look for the possible cause of the error. We select all again to remove the filter, and then we go to the branch type check error. So we can clearly see that there's an error here. There's a connection between the primary overhead line and a secondary line. So that's an error because we know that before a secondary line connects to a primary overhead line, it has to go through a distribution transformer. If you filter this field, so we know DT secondary service ramp is possibly correct. So just filter this error. So there's only 1 error for the branch type check. The other ones are just warnings. Okay. Now how do we correct the errors? So first, with regards to the connection problem, you have to go back to your data. So you understand that as an engineer, as part of the utility, the one who developed this data, you know better how to interpret and correct the data. So what you have to do is just to go back to your network data, to your diagram, and check what caused the error, why this part of the network got separated from the main branches of the network. But what we can do is we close this result and then we open again the tree construction module. Now what you can do is to run the data by component. So as we've mentioned in one of our sessions for demonstration on tree construction module, you can actually run the data first with the primary lines overhead and disconnect the other parts of the network. So you can do that. You can run first the primary lines and check if all of the data are connected. So we can do that right now. We can run the same data with only the primary lines, and then we simulate the data. Let's view the output. So if we go to the all trees results, we can see that there are 2 trees formed on the primary network. So what you can do is to check what caused the error in this part of the network. Now, since I made the error in this data, what I actually did is I added an _1 for this entry. You will look for this bus on the main network. You will see that there is no underline 1 on the original bus. So what you will do is you will open the data again, correct this bus. And what you will do in the original data, and then correct this entry. So here is the original data. We'll go to the primary line overhead. And here we can see what I actually did. So what you will do is just to correct this one, remove the _1, save the data, and close it, close the results, and then run again the program. Let's view the output. So we can see that there's only now 1 tree formed for the network. So that is the cause of the 2 trees formed a while ago. Okay, so we already addressed the number of trees error. So now let's address the other errors. So we close this. We can run again the data with all the components connected and see if there is still 1 tree formed in the output. So that is the cause of the 2 trees formed. So it has been addressed. So now our next problem is the phasing error. So again, we go to the result of the program, and then we go to the field for phasing check. Again, we use the filter, and then we look for the error. You can see it's a secondary line. Connected to it are 2 service trucks. So what you can do is go back again to your data. So here's your data. You go to the secondary service truck worksheet. Now let's check why this is an error. So let's copy and then go to your data. Find it. You can see it is ABN. But what is the phasing of the DT where this is connected? So again, we copy this and we look for it in the distribution transformer. So here you can see that the secondary phasing of the transformer is actually BCN, but the phasing of the secondary line is ABN. So for this case, what I actually did is change the phasing of the transformer into BCN to cause the error. So what we will do is to make this ABN and then we save the data again. So again, you will know better what is the problem with the data, but for this case, I actually made the error, so I actually know how to solve the problem. So we save the data, we close this again, and we run again the data. So that's basically how you do it. You correct the data one error at a time. So you see, there's no more pacing check errors. There's no more connection error. Now the only error right now is the branch type error. So again, what you do is go back to your result. Let's look for the branch type check error. So this one is the error. Let's check what's the cause of the error. So it's a primary overhead line connected to a secondary line. So let's look at the branch. So we can see this one. It's a secondary line branch, but the from bus ID is a primary line bus ID. Again, we go back to our data and check what is the cause of this error. So this is our data, and we go to the secondary line and look for the entry of that segment. So we go back to our result, we look for this segment, copy, and then we search it on our data. We can see this is an error because the secondary line has to pass through a distribution transformer before it connects to a primary line network. So what you will do is to look for the correct bus for this, and then you run the program again. For my case, just have to correct this bus. So there, I already changed the correct from bus ID of that secondary line segment. So again, we save the data and then we simulate the data again. View the output. There you go. So all of the errors have been corrected for this data. So that's how you correct the data using the pre-construction output. So just do it step by step and you correct the error one by one. So don't forget to use the modular approach, especially for the connection problems with a corresponding data. So again, I hope that helps you in the preparation of your data. Thank you very much.